हाँ 54. So if we see the 54th verse, so Arjuna said, O Krishna, what are the symptoms of one whose consciousness is thus merged in transcendence? How does he speak? What is his language? How does he sit? And how does he walk? So ये जो श्लोक है काफी महत्वपूर्ण है हमारे लाइफ के लिए भी. The reason being, इसमें अर्जुन कृष्णा से ये पूछ रहे कि हम पहचाने कैसे? How do we recognize a person who is self-realized? How do we recognize if a person is genuine or not? How do we recognize if we can hear from that person or not? So this is very important, considering that in today in Kali Yuga, there are a lot of people who are actually cheaters, but they pose as saints or they pose as great devotees, and they may, like for a normal person, it may appear that they are also great devotees. So how do we distinguish between who is genuine and who is fake? So that is what Arjun is asking Krishna. So he is asking for symptoms of the lakshan. So एक शुद्ध भक्त है जो उसका लक्षण क्या है, ये कृष्णा से पूछ रहे हैं. तो इससे पहले हम आंसर देंगे, कोई बताना चाहेगा कि आपके हिसाब से what are the symptoms of a pure devotee or someone who is genuine?
He always speaks about Krishna.
Yes.
He is equipoised.
Yeah, he always speaks about Krishna. He is equipoised. Equipoised का मतलब है वो सुख दुख कोई भी सिचुएशन में he is always the same. Sorry. हाँ, टॉलरेट्स. उसका टॉलरेंस होता है. स्थित प्रज्ञा, स्टडी इंटेलिजेंस, स्टडी डिटर्मिनेशन. और सेंस ग्रेटिफिकेशन वो करता ही नहीं एक्चुअली. हाँ, कंट्रोल नहीं, वो करता ही नहीं. सेंस ग्रेटिफिकेशन इट मीन्स इंद्रिय तृप्ति. सो से फॉर एग्जाम्पल, अगर किसी ने हमें बहुत अच्छा प्रसाद दिया, ठीक है, इफ वी टेक दैट प्रसाद विद द एम ऑफ सेटिस्फाइंग आवर टंग, तो देन इट इज सेंस ग्रेटिफिकेशन. बट अगर वो प्रसाद हम इस भावना से ले कि ये भगवान का दिया गया कृपा है, इसलिए मैं अगर प्रसाद ग्रहण करूंगा, then I will be able to serve the Lord better, then it is not sense gratification. So a pure devotee doesn't indulge in any kind of sense gratification. और कोई कुछ बताना चाहेगा? Yes.
His senses are focused on Krishna. All his senses are focused on Krishna.
Okay.
He uses his senses only for the God. Like eyes are there to see the God. Ears are there to listen the pravachana and Krishna katha.
Yeah.
And tongue is there to do japa.
Okay. Yeah.
So
Yes. Yeah, you had a question?
Yes. So a certain points like equipoised हो गया, self gratification वाला point. A person would have these qualities and not be a devotee.
Yeah, it is possible. So that's why we are saying that these are symptoms. Symptoms मतलब क्या, अभी डॉक्टर के पास जाओ तो समझो किसी को कोरोना है कि नहीं है, तो डॉक्टर क्या बोलेगा, खांसी है तो हो सकता है कोरोना है. बट खांसी है तो मतलब कोरोना है, दैट्स नॉट मतलब 1:1 नहीं. दीज आर द सिम्टम्स. मतलब ऐसा जरूरी नहीं कि कोई इक्विपॉइज्ड है तो वो डिवोटी है, या तो फिर वो इंटेलिजेंट है इसलिए डिवोटी, ऐसा नहीं है. दीज आर सम सिम्टम्स. अगर बहुत सारे सिम्टम्स है देन ही इज अ डिवोटी. बट वन सिम्टम कैन नॉट क्वांटिफाई दैट दिस पर्सन इज अ डिवोटी और नॉट. So like this, there are many symptoms. In the Bhagavad Gita later, there is a chapter known as divine and demonic qualities. So वहाँ पे Krishna will explain in much more detail. But right now we are in the summary part. Contents of the Gita summarized. So यहाँ पे Krishna will summarize the teachings in 2 or 3 strokes. So we are going to read. 2.55. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, O Parth, when a man gives up all varieties of desire for sense gratification, which arise from mental concoction, and when his mind, thus purified, finds satisfaction in the self alone, then he is said to be in pure transcendental consciousness. So let's read this verse again, part by part. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, says that, O Parth, Parth is nothing but Arjun, another name for Arjun. When a man gives up all varieties of desire for sense gratification, which arise from mental concoction. तो ये देखते हैं. So when a man gives up all varieties of sense gratification. So when I say sense gratification, जैसे we took the example of prasad, ठीक है? Prasad or in general food, if you would say. So in general, our tongue will always want something which is very much palatable, very much tasty, something very spicy. As long as we have such kind of desires, we cannot say that we are free from all material desire, right? So in Krishna consciousness, what we say is that if we have such desires, it's okay. But what we do is that we dovetail our desires with Krishna. So say for example, अगर मुझे मन कर रहा है कि मैं पनीर की सब्जी खाऊं, ठीक है? तो it's fine. You do not starve yourself. What you do is you make a very palatable dish for Krishna, offer it to him, and then take it as his mercy. So that is the best way to control your senses. Otherwise, if अगर कोई किसी को ऐसा कहे कि नहीं तो आप कुछ भी अच्छा चीज नहीं खाओगे, आपको पनीर नहीं खाना है, आपको खीर नहीं खाना है, आपको रसगुल्ला नहीं खाना है, आपको गुलाब जामुन नहीं खाना है, तो it becomes very difficult to control the senses, right? तो आप कितने दिन ऐसे खुद को repress करके रखोगे? So of course what we are offering should be like in accordance with scripture. ऐसा ना हो कि हम meat offer कर दे या fish offer कर दे, ऐसा नहीं. But something which is as per scripture, जो हम scripture के हिसाब से भगवान को दे सकते हैं, वो चीज हम ले सकते हैं. It's like that. So you see this, which arise from mental concoction. Now what is mental concoction? Mental concoction मतलब खुद के दिमाग में कुछ भी चल रहा है वो मैंने कर दिया. कल मुझे लगा कि चलो मुझे आइसक्रीम खाना है, तो आइसक्रीम कृष्ण को ऑफर कर दिया और आइसक्रीम खा लिया. या फिर पिज्जा खाना है, बाहर से पिज्जा खरीद लिया, पिज्जा ऑफर कर दिया. तो इट्स नॉट लाइक दैट. सो वॉट एवर वी आर ऑफरिंग और वॉट एवर वी आर डूइंग, दैट हैज टू बी एज पर शास्त्र. तो शास्त्र जो फूड स्टफ हमें ऑफर करने के लिए अलाउंस देते हैं, सिर्फ वही हम अलाउ कर सकते हैं, वही कृष्ण को ऑफर कर सकते हैं. एंड व्हेन हिज माइंड thus purified finds satisfaction in the self alone, then he is said to be in pure transcendental consciousness. So a devotee is someone whose mind is completely purified and they find satisfaction in their self. So when we say self, it means that they are completely surrendered to Krishna and they are happy, like whatever they have, they are happy with that. And they are always in pure transcendental consciousness. So somebody said that a devotee will always take the name of Krishna, he will also always like glorify Krishna. He will do everything in accordance with Krishna. Krishna will be with him everywhere. So that is the symptom of a devotee.
So Prabhuji, the prasad we should not offer the pizza and all those things.
Okay, so pizza बाहर से आप खरीद के नहीं दे सकते.
Oh.
हाँ. So if you want to offer pizza, you can do it, but फिर खुद से सब कुछ बनाना पड़ेगा. All the ingredients also you have to make yourself. Because जो पिज्जा में ingredients होता है उसमें onion, garlic होता है.
No, if we take the pure veg pizza from outside.
No, we cannot do that.
No?
We cannot. So whatever we are offering to Krishna, that has to be prepared by a devotee.
Even if we,
Yeah,
if
that
we
is
want to
important.
offer rasgulla, we prepare it ourselves at home.
Yeah.
Rasgulla. So sweets are different. I'll come to that. So there are certain foodstuffs जिसमें ना कर्मा बहुत easily transfer होता है. Say for example, रोटी ले लीजिए. तो क्या होता है कि रोटी आप जब बना रहे हो, you are like engaging your hands, you are engaging all your senses. So you are like rigorously making it, right? So जो कुक है ना, उसका consciousness रोटी में बहुत ज़्यादा जाता है. रोटी या फिर ब्रेड जो भी ले लो. तो ऐसे जो पदार्थ होते हैं वो अगर किसी नॉन डिवोटी ने बनाया या फिर कोई कर्मी इंसान ने बनाया तो उसके कर्म उसमें आ जाते हैं. और फिर वो चीज अगर हम खाएंगे ना तो वी विल बिकम लाइक दैट.
जब हम ऑफर करते हैं तो रिएक्शन निकल नहीं जाता.
बता रहा हूँ मैं एक एक करके आ रहा हूँ. देन नाउ वी इफ यू टॉक अबाउट रसगुल्ला. रसगुल्ला ऐसा है कि उसमें उतना एंगेजमेंट नहीं होता है, वो सिर्फ रस में छोड़ देते हैं और फिर वो हो जाता है. तो रसगुल्ला इज एन एक्सेप्शन कि जो कोई बाहर के डिवोटी ने बना दिया है, किसी ने बना दिया, तो वी कैन ऑफर. Yeah, it has to be done, but it is an exception. I'm just saying. So better we don't get into exceptions. In general, is that a devotee should make it and devotee should offer it. That's a simple thing. So there are some exceptions, but better we don't get into that right now. Okay. So coming to the next verse, one who is not disturbed in mind, even amidst the threefold miseries or elated when there is happiness, and who is free from attachment, fear and anger is called a sage of steady mind. So किसी ने स्थित प्रज्ञा बताया था. स्थित प्रज्ञा is also one of the important qualities, steady mind. So a devotee is always of very steady mind. आपने politicians को भी देखा है? Politicians आज कुछ कहेंगे, कल कुछ और ही कह देंगे. So that is the sign or a लक्षण of a demonic person. वो कभी है ना कुछ कहते हैं उसको मानते नहीं है. मतलब they will say something, आज उनको लगा कि ये सही है तो वो बोलेंगे, कल वो कुछ और ही बोलेंगे. So they will keep on changing their colors like a chameleon. But a devotee, a pure devotee will say and execute the same thing. So they are of steady mind. Their intelligence is steady. So अगर उन्होंने बोला कि मैं आज ये करूँगा, तो they will do that. If they say that this is correct, they will, even tomorrow they will say this is correct. Even after 10 years they will say this is correct. Even after even their disciples will say that this is correct. That is about devotee. But normal demonic people, they will keep changing. For them, truth is not constant. For them, truth is always changing. So they will आज बोलेंगे ये सही है, कल बोलेंगे वो सही है. In the material world, one who is unaffected by whatever good or evil he may obtain, neither praising it nor despising it, is firmly fixed in perfect knowledge. So somebody said equanimity, equipoised, right? So this is the quality. So a devotee, no matter how much difficulty is coming, he will always remain the same. Even if he gets a lot of material success, still he will remain the same. So this is again one more very important quality. So in these three slokas, Krishna is saying the main qualities of a devotee. Of course, there are many more qualities. It's not that these are the only qualities, but these are the main qualities of how do we identify someone who is genuine and someone who is not genuine. So can anyone say from scripture, from Ramayana, Mahabharata, or anyone, who is a devotee who had all these three qualities? Hanumanji, yes. Yeah, Hanumanji had all these three qualities. Anyone else? There are a lot of examples. Narad Muni. Yeah, Narad Muni also very good example. Vyasdev, very good example. So like this we can discuss. There are so many examples given in the scripture. But there is one particular example which is like very much relevant for these qualities. So his name is Markandeya Rishi. Markandeya Rishi. Yeah. So Markandeya Rishi, does anyone know who is it? Okay.
He has age of only 16 years.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll just tell you about Markandeya Rishi in very short. So there was sage named Mrikandu. Mrikandu नाम के एक साधु थे. उनके कोई पुत्र नहीं थे. So he was praying to Lord Shiva. He was performing austerities. काफी साल से वो तपस्या कर रहे थे. So after performing tapasya for many thousands of years, Lord Shiva became very happy with him and he came in front of him. So whenever Lord Shiva comes, he is very merciful. So वो पूछते हैं कि what is it you want? Like, do you want any kind of boon or a vardhan from me? So then Mrikandu Rishi says that I have everything in this world, but I don't have a son. So please bless me with a son. So then Lord Shiva gives him an option. Either you will have a very good son who has all the divine qualities, but he will live only for 16 years. This is option A. And option B is that you will get a son who has a very long life, but he will be completely demonic. So what do you want? So then Mrikandu Rishi said that I don't want a son who will spoil my name. Even if he is short-lived, it's fine, but I want a son who I can be proud of. So Lord Shiva said, Tatastu. And he went. So after a year, Markandeya Rishi was born to Mrikandu. So Markandeya Rishi, he was the embodiment of all the good qualities. So whatever good qualities you are talking about is the embodiment of everything. And as he was growing up, he was like exceptionally intelligent, very, very great devotee. He was so I would say, like, he didn't have any bad quality. Like, he was if you say like personification of good qualities, that's Markandeya Rishi. So as he was growing up, he neared the age of 16. So his parents, one day they got very emotional and they started crying. So he asked them that, why are you crying? So then his parents told him that as per the boon of Lord Shiva, you are supposed to live only for 16 years and you are already 15, so you don't have much time to live. And we are actually very, very unhappy that how will we live without you, because after you are gone, we are again alone. So then Markandeya Rishi said, ki, don't worry. Now try to understand, he is just 15 years old, only 15 years old. Yet he has the kind of maturity that, like, you understand, any 15-year-old, if you tell him that you are going to die after some months, they will also start crying. But he said, you don't worry. I am confident that I will win over Lord Shiva and I will win over death himself. So you just give me your blessings. And he started doing a lot of austerities. So what he did is, he created a shivling out of the earth, and he started worshipping the shivling very ardently. Now what happened is, as the end moment of his life was approaching, the 16th year, the Yamdutas came. The Yamdutas are the messengers of Yamraj. So they come and snatch the soul of all the living entities and take them to Yamraj. But because Markandeya Rishi was so powerful, he was emanating such a strong aura, these Yamdutas couldn't come near. They were feeling burning sensation when they were trying to approach Markandeya Rishi. So they immediately reported back to their master, Yamraj. Now it is the duty of Yamraj to ensure that every living entity leaves the body at time. So he cannot even allow a minute to pass after the allotted time is over. So Yamraj himself came. Now when Yamraj comes, normally he is invisible. He is not visible to everyone. But because of the powerful aura what was emanating from Markandeya Rishi, he had to take his original form and show himself before him. What is the weapon of Yamraj? Does anyone know? It's known as Kal Dand, like it's a rope. So he will throw a rope and snatch the soul from the body. So similarly, he threw a rope at Markandeya Rishi. Now Markandeya Rishi was sitting very close to the shivling. So what happened, this rope went and it caught the shivling also along with Markandeya Rishi. So the moment it touched the shivling, Lord Shiva manifested himself from the shivling. And he came out with his Trishul and he killed Yamraj. So that is the reason why there are a couple of names given to Lord Shiva. One of them is Mrityunjay. Mrityunjay means somebody who has conquered death or defeated death. He is also known as Kalantak, somebody who has ended Kal. Kal means destruction or death. And by killing Yamraj, he saved his devotee Markandeya Rishi. And afterwards, like, Lord Shiva is very merciful, so he kills someone and then he revives also. So he knows that after, like, if Yamraj is not there, then who will take care of the death and everything? So he revived him also. And Markandeya Rishi, after that, he received a blessing from Lord Shiva that I bless you to be immortal, to be Chiranjeev. So Markandeya Rishi is a Chiranjeev, he is existing even today. Even today he is meditating. So Markandeya Rishi was just 16 years old at that time. And after that, lot of cycles of Satya Yuga, Kali Yuga, and also there are 4 yugas: Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapar Yuga, and Kali Yuga. So each yuga is of many thousands of years. Does anyone know what is the duration of Kali Yuga? Yes, it's 4,32,000 years. That is the duration of Kali Yuga, 4,32,000 years. What is the duration of Dwapar Yuga? Okay, double. So if Kali Yuga is X, then Dwapar Yuga is 2X.
8 lakh 54.
Yeah. What is the duration of Treta Yuga? Yeah, triple. So if Kali Yuga is X, Dwapar Yuga is 2X, Treta Yuga is 3X, and Satya Yuga is 4X. So if we add all of this, it comes out to be 10X. Right? So one cycle, it's 4,32,000 years into 10, which is 43.2 lakh years. So that is one cycle. And like this, if this one cycle happens 71 times, that is called as Manvantar, or the lifetime of Manu.
How many times?
71 is one cycle 71 times. That is lifetime of one Manu. Yeah. And like this, for yeah. So like this for the Manu is Swayambhuva Manu. So he is like a secondary creator. So Lord Brahma is there. Lord Brahma is the primary creator. So Lord Brahma creates some entities known as Prajapatis. Like Daksha is a Prajapati, Manu is a Prajapati. And these again go and create. So Brahma doesn't create everything directly. He creates the main living entities and then they again create the other living entities. So like this is one Manu. So like this, 6 Manu if we go, like you can understand the duration. So that is the duration for which Markandeya Rishi is meditating. Even now he is meditating. So he is performing austerity.
So what for 72 cycles in one Manu?
Yeah. And into 6. Into 6.
Okay.
So that is the duration of the austerity of Markandeya Rishi. Markandeya Rishi is doing austerities for so many thousands of years. So you cannot even write those numbers. If we try to write, it will come in astronomy, like e raised to something.
So Markandeya Rishi is the second creator.
No, he is not the second creator. He is a Chiranjeev.
He is the second creator?
Manu. Manu is the second
What
creator.
if God is the first creator called Swarga, then what Brahma created is Visarga.
No. Simple thing. This universe has been created by Brahmaji. Brahmaji is the creator of everything, right? Whatever is there in this universe. But he doesn't create everything directly. He creates some Prajapatis. Prajapatis like Daksha, Swayambhuva Manu. And these Prajapatis again increase the population of the universe. Yeah. So I'm just talking about Manu. So the lifetime of Manu is such long, and 6 Manvantaras have passed. And this is Markandeya Rishi is doing austerities. And now what happened is that because he's doing austerity for such a long time, somebody has become very anxious. Can you guess who has become anxious? Indra has become. So whenever someone does a lot of austerities, Indra becomes very anxious because he is fearful that this person will take my seat. Yeah. And what does he do whenever he becomes angry, like fearful?
He tries to disturb.
He tried to break his
Ha.
penance.
So for breaking penance, he invited someone. Who is that someone?
Apsara.
Yeah. He invited Kamdev. Kamdev is the god of love. So Kamdev has a bow and which has 5 arrows. So using that 5 arrows, he can bewilder anyone. He even managed to bewilder Lord Shiva. So when Parvati was serving Lord Shiva, so Kamdev had bewildered Lord Shiva also. So he sent Kamdev along with the seasons. So we have 4 seasons like spring, rainy season. So it said that our senses are at the peak in the spring season. So he sent spring also along with Kamdev. And then he sent all the beautiful apsaras, all like Ramba, Punjikasthala, Urvashi and everyone. Because Indra is someone who plans a lot and he doesn't like defeat. So he doesn't want anyone else to come and occupy his position by performing a lot of austerities. So he sent all of them. So can you imagine, Kamdev himself has come. His arrows are like lethal. If he shoots arrow at someone, like they will get infatuated. And then along with Kamdev, there are apsaras, so many beautiful apsaras. And then there are seasons also. So he took everything and went to the place where Markandeya Rishi was meditating. And Kamdev, he fired all the 5 arrows simultaneously at Markandeya Rishi. And at the same time, all these apsaras also started dancing around him. At the same time, the spring season also came. So spring season is something like, at that time the senses become very agitated during spring. So the spring season also came. So all these attacks happened at Markandeya at the same time. But still Markandeya Rishi was so self-controlled, he was so poised, so much equipoised that he didn't even feel anything. He was continuously meditating on the Supreme Lord. In fact, his aura was so powerful that Kamdev started feeling a burning sensation. It felt as if a sun is coming and devouring him. All the apsaras also, they felt a burning sensation and they all ran away from there and went back to Indra. So that is the quality of a devotee. So Markandeya Rishi is a very good example of a devotee. Someone who has complete control over senses. Someone who doesn't even dream about sense gratification. Someone like who is completely equipoised. So he is meditating even now. So like this, there are a lot of Chiranjeevs who meditate, and because of them only we are getting this devotional service and everything. So though they are sitting at one place and meditating, we are experiencing the good effects of their meditation. Because if they are not there, the universal balance will go here and there.
Probably how many years are left for this Kali to end?
Okay, so only 5,000 years have passed. So you can subtract 4,32,000 minus 5,000, 4,27,000. Yeah.
So again after this Satyug will come.
Yeah, Satyug will come.
But let it take.
Yeah, but by that time none of us will be there. Like, we'll be vanquished.
Prabhuji, can you please repeat the father name of Narayana?
Sorry?
What is the name of Markandeya?
Mrikandu. So now moving to the next verse, this is 58. So one who is able to withdraw his senses from sense objects, as the tortoise draws its limbs within the shell, is firmly fixed in perfect consciousness. So here Krishna is giving the example of a tortoise. So tortoise, what it does is that whenever it senses danger, it will immediately withdraw all its limbs within the shell and protect itself. So similarly, we should be like this. So normally what happens is that whenever someone is trying to overcome some sense gratification or some kind of bad habit which they have, what is advice is that you should stay away from that source. Say for example, if somebody has a addiction of drinking alcohol, then it's advised that you stay away from places where alcohol is available. But a devotee is someone is that even in the presence of such sense objects, they would be able to withdraw their limbs, they would be able to withdraw their senses and protect themselves. So that is the example given of a devotee.
One should be free from provocation or instigation.
Sorry?
One should be free from the provocation or instigation.
Yeah, so one should be able to tolerate the provocations. We cannot be free from provocations. So there will be sense objects coming in front of us, but even in their presence, a devotee doesn't get disturbed. That is the, we can say, like the symptom of a devotee. Though the embodied soul may be restricted from sense enjoyment, the taste for sense objects remains. But ceasing such engagements by experiencing higher taste, he is fixed in consciousness. So this is very important. No? Though the embodied soul may be restricted from sense enjoyment, the taste for sense objects remain. Okay. So let's take the example. So now it's summer season, right? So if you are going outside, so there is a lot of heat. And normally people, what they do is whenever there is a lot of heat, they will start drinking cold water, like cold refrigerated water. But if you consult the doctors or when you consult like Ayurveda, it's actually very good, bad for health. Drinking cold refrigerated water. Not talking about cold natural water. Cold refrigerated water is very bad for health. But what happens is that, see, if I tell that person that you don't drink cold water, will that person listen to me or not? Why will he not listen? Because he is feeling the heat, right? He wants to quench the heat. And for him, yes, somebody was saying something online.
His senses are strong.
Yeah, senses are strong. So here the thing is that you have to understand that why is the person drinking cold water. The reason the person is drinking cold water is because there is a lot of heat, right? Now instead of keeping that person in a normal room, say for example I tell him to sit here in an air conditioned room. So will the same person again drink cold water or not? He will not, na? Because what I did is I eliminated the root cause. The root cause of that person drinking cold water was because there is a lot of heat. So if we eliminate the heat, or automatically that person will not drink cold water. So similarly, we can say is that an embodied soul is, if we restrict the embodied soul from sense enjoyment, the taste for sense enjoyment will remain. But if we give the person a higher taste, if we give the person something which he can relish, then automatically the person will leave the lower taste. The senses are so strong and impetuous, O Arjun, that they forcibly carry away the mind even of a man of discrimination who is endeavoring to control them. Yes. So here Krishna is saying, so Arjun in the 3rd chapter he will ask that how do we control our senses? So we all know that senses should be controlled, but senses are so strong and impetuous that they will carry away the mind of a person of discrimination also, like Visa, who wants to control it, but still he will not be able to control. So what should I do in this case? One who restrains his senses, keeping them under full control and fixing his consciousness upon me, is known as a man of steady intelligence. So somebody talked about Sthita Pragya, right? So Sthita Pragya means steady intelligence.
But how to keep them under control?
Yeah, I will talk about that. So let's understand this with the help of some example. Can anyone give example of any devotee who has a very steady intelligence in Mahabharata, in Srimad Bhagavatam, in Ramayana or anywhere? Bhishma. Yeah, Bhishma you can say. He was lying in a bed of arrows, but yet he was giving discourses to Yudhishthir. So you can
He
say,
remained brahmachari throughout the...
yeah, he remained brahmachari throughout his entire life, despite having so many difficulties.
And living in a palace.
Yeah, living in a palace.
There are so many...
He was a Kshatriya. He was he belonged to the family of Kurus. He didn't have any dirt of wealth or strength or anything. He could have got sense retribution any time he wanted, but still he was a brahmachari. That's a good example.
Maharaja Yudhishthira.
Yeah, Maharaj Yudhishthira also you can say. So when he was climbing the Mount Meru at the end of Mahabharata, so he was the only person who could reach heaven in his mortal body, while all other Pandavas left their body due to some fault of them. Okay, so one very good example given in this Shastra is that of Shukdev Goswami. So Shukdev Goswami is the son of Vyasa Muni. Vyasa Muni is the compiler of the Mahabharata and all the other Vedas. So he is the son of Vyasa Muni, Shukdev Goswami. Now Shukdev Goswami, he was a self-realized person right from his birth, and he was a person of steady intelligence. The reason why he had steady intelligence is because he was always thinking of Krishna right from his birth. So if somebody wants to have steady intelligence, they have to always think about Krishna and always do activities dovetail with Krishna consciousness. Now Vyasdev, being the father of Shukdev Goswami, of course, fathers, they want their children to get married and to settle down, basically, right? So he wanted Shukdev Goswami to get married, but Shukdev Goswami said, I have no interest in getting married, because if I get married, I will get entangled in lot of unnecessary things, and I'll forget Krishna. So then his father said, you go and meet Janak Maharaj, the father of Sita Devi. So Janak Maharaj is someone who is known as Videha. Videha means, though he is in this body, he is transcendental. Despite being in the body, his consciousness is always with Krishna or with Lord Ram. So that is the consciousness of Janak Maharaj. So when he went there, so what is the capital of Janak Maharaj? In which city did he decide? Janakpuri, but there is a city in Bihar, Mithila. So Shukdev Goswami went there. So when he went there, the gatekeeper of Mithila, he told him that Janak Maharaj is not here, so you are not allowed to enter. So Shukdev Goswami sat there. For 7 days he was sitting there. Nobody was entertaining him, nobody was giving him any prasadam or any kind of arrangement, but he was sitting there, silently and meditating. Then Janak Maharaj heard that Shukdev Goswami has come. So he immediately said, why is he waiting outside? Let him come inside. So the doorkeeper, he told him to come in. And Janak Maharaj started entertaining him with everything. So Janak Maharaj is a king of Mithila. He had no dearth of any material opulences. So he started entertaining him with all kinds of pleasures. If you go to any court, you'll find dancing girls, you will find so many servants, they will serve you so many different types of drinks, and sharbats, different types of foods. So everything was given to him. You can imagine, previous 7 days he was not eating anything. Next 7 days he was fed everything, given everything. But still he was the same, of very steady mind. And then Janak Maharaj asked him, he told him, you please come, okay? So you have come for so far, so there must be some purpose why you have come here, right? So then Janak Maharaj, Shukdev Goswami, he said that my father has actually sent me to you and he has asked me to learn from you. So please tell me what are the instructions you want to tell me. So then Janak Maharaj, he told him, you do one thing, I'll give you a cup of oil. So that cup was filled with oil till the top, till the brim. You take this oil and you circumambulate the entire palace. So the palace of Janak Maharaj was huge. It had lot of varieties, lot of different departments. You take that pot of oil and you roam around. You do a circumambulation and come back to me. And while coming back, not a drop should fall down. So he went. So as he was going, he saw some jokers who were cracking jokes. Then he went ahead, he saw some courtesans, they were dancing. He went ahead, he saw some food getting cooked, which had a very good aroma. So everywhere, to all the different departments he went, and then he came back. And when he came back, his mind was steady, even the glass was steady, not a single drop of oil had fallen. So then Janak Maharaj said, you have already learned whatever I had to teach you, because I see that you are completely self-realized. There is nothing more I can teach you, you can go home. So then he said, ki actually my father wanted to get me married, and I don't want to marry. So that's why my father sent me to you, because though you are a married person, though you are a householder, though you are a grihastha, you are supposed to be very realized. So that's why my father has sent me to you, to kindly instruct him. So then Janak Maharaj said, ki what I have said is done, like you already have all the knowledge. So then he said, ki in general, people are not so self-controlled that they can remain a sannyasi entire life. So they are supposed to marry. But in your case, it's not necessary, because you have already reached a level where everyone aspires to reach. So in your case, even if you don't marry, it's fine. So that this is the example of Shukdev Goswami. So he was a person having steady intelligence. So initially he was sitting outside for 7 days. He didn't have anything to eat. Nobody was even asking him, ki Prabhuji, what happened or whatever. Still he was the same. Then for the next 7 days he got everything in the world, whatever someone desires. Still he was the same. And then he got a pot of oil and he had to walk around so many distractions, but still he was the same. So this is the example of steady intelligence. Of course, the example which I am giving, that is like the highest standard. We may not be able to attain that standard, but we have to understand who is the ideal in that standard. So that's the reason why we are supposed to read the Bhagavad Gita.
So I have a question in this example.
Yes.
Janak Maharaj was there in the Treta Yuga when Ramchandra was there.
Yeah.
And Vyasdev wrote Mahabharata in Idapar Yuga.
Hmm.
So Shukdev Maharaj was there in Treta Yuga.
Okay, so this particular example which I have taken is not from Srimad Bhagavatam. It's from Devi Bhagavatam. And yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Different Puranas talk about different cycles. So in different cycles, different events happen at different times in point. So say for example, in this particular cycle, the Mahabharata Yuddha happened, the Pandavas won. But in some other cycle, the Kauravas have also won. So it's like that. Yeah, so that's the reason why there are inconsistencies in the Puranas. So if you read this Purana and that Purana, because both the Puranas are not talking about the same cycle.
Yeah, all the Puranas are written by Vyasdev.
Yeah, they are written by Vyasdev. But the Puranas which we have right now in front of us, lot of Puranas have disappeared. So there were Muslim rulers who had come, they had burned the scriptures. So earlier all the different Puranas were available. But right now the versions which are available to us, they are of different yugas. It's like that. So it is a loss, but unfortunately we have to do with whatever we have right now. Now coming to the 62nd verse. While contemplating the objects of senses, a person develops attachment for them, and from such attachment lust develops, and from lust anger arises. So whenever we see something or whenever we experience something, right? So there are 3 stages which come. One is thinking, second one is feeling, and the third one is willing. Thinking, feeling, willing. Thinking, feeling and willing.
It's a symptom of consciousness.
No, I'm just talking about the stages. So whenever we see something, so say for example, somebody is suffering from diabetes and they see a rasagulla, right? So they are not supposed to eat it. But if they can control their mind in the thinking stage itself, then it will be easy for them. But if they think about the rasagulla and then they feel about it, then it will become very difficult for them to resist it. So thinking, feeling and willing. So Shastras say that we cannot stop thinking about bad things or something which is unfavorable for us. It's very difficult. So there were times when even thought was supposed to be a sin. Like सोचना भी पाप माना जाता था एक जमाने में. But in Kali Yuga, especially for people like us, thinking को पाप नहीं माना जाता if we stop the thinking immediately. But if thinking progresses to feeling, and then becomes willing, then it's a sin, it's a pap. So we have to stop all our bad thoughts at the thinking process itself. So you see this while contemplating the objects of our senses. So when we think about objects of senses, a person develops attachment for them. So as we think, as we feel, as we will, we develop an attachment for them. And from such attachment, lust develops. So lust is one of the 3 gateways to hell. There are 3 gateways to hell. Does anyone know? नरक में जाने का 3 रास्ते हैं. Yeah.
Anger, lust, and greed.
Yes. Lust, greed, and anger are the 3 gateways to hell. So in the 3rd chapter also, like Krishna will explain more about lust. Lust is the root cause of all the sins in this world. And from where is lust coming in? Lust is not the root cause. Like lust is coming from attachment, and attachment is coming by contemplation. So if we stop at thinking process itself, we will never come to this stage of lust.
Prabhuji, I have some thought on this.
Yes.
Okay. Now what it says is that while we are contemplating on the object of senses, the person develops attachment for them.
Yeah.
And from the attachment, lust develops, and from lust, anger
Yes.
develops.
Yes.
So this is when you are wanting certain things and you are not getting.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
But there are certain things that, say for example, if I decide not to have a meat, eat meat, right? Because I am following regulatory principles.
Okay.
But suppose someone comes around and starts, I'm always asking, okay, take something, little bit, or start pushing it in that direction. Then
Yeah.
that time also, even though we are not contemplating on the object of the senses, and we don't have attachment, we may get angry.
Yeah, it is possible. So in this case also, though we are not consciously contemplating, when somebody else is saying us that you take this,
Provoking.
we are like contemplating. We are not doing it consciously, but that person is provoking us to contemplate. So it's starting from the same stage, but I understand your point of view as well.
No, but contemplation would be there. If somebody gives you when it comes in front of you, you will think about that.
Yes, that's the thing.
That is contemplation.
So that's the thing. So again, it's coming back to this cycle only.
Yeah.
But Prabhuji, to certain extent that is true.
Yeah.
Okay. But when someone is like forcing you to do certain things forcefully, it's like, okay, we are not contemplating, they are just forcing you.
Yeah, so
Right.
forcing, if somebody is forcing us, and if we do not have taste for that particular thing, say for example meat, right? So I'll give you my example. There was a time when I used to consume a lot of meat, right? But if today if somebody is coming and forcing me, I will like literally run away. It is not possible for me to even contemplate, because I have like developed a higher taste.
But
Right.
So Prabhuji, the mind will say desire, but
Yeah.
one has to apply the intelligence.
Yeah. So again, I understand Mataji's point of view also. That is there. But
Whenever it's possible to avoid completely by just walking away or by just running away, that's fine.
Yeah.
But when such scenario is not there and people just want to test you, whether you get provoked or not. Okay. For example, अभी कुछ लड़कियों को छेड़ते हैं ना लड़के, मानो कि 16 years old लड़की है, कोई बस में जा रही है, तो unnecessarily start उसके साथ वो कुछ बुरी हरकतें करने लगते हैं, राइट? तो ऐसा नहीं है कि वो लड़की को बहुत अच्छा लगता है. Okay, when it becomes too much, then she will get fed up with that and then she will get angry.
Okay. Again, the example what you are giving is not relevant over here.
That is part of
That is different thing. Of course, the girl has to become angry in that case. That's different. So I'll give you a proper example over here. Okay, मतलब ये श्लोक किस example में valid है, ठीक है? तो say for example, there is a young boy. He sees a young beautiful girl, right? So for him, the girl is a object of sense, like a sense object. So he will start thinking about that girl. He will be in a like a illusion world. He will feel that if I get this girl as my wife, I'll be very happy. So he will develop an attachment for the girl, and from that attachment lust will come. And if he goes and proposes to the girl, if the girl says no, then he will become angry, right? So that is the sequence. The examples which you are giving is like not related to this verse. That's a separate thing. Of course, in that case, you have to become angry. That's so that's a more proper example.
That's not a sin. If somebody is actually provoking you and agitating you,
Yeah.
you will control into certain limit, and when your limit is crossed, then you can actually reply. It's not getting angry. You can just give a stern reply, and that is not considered as anger.
See, there are right now the reason why we are talking about anger. Like, I understand that sometimes anger is necessary. So, say for example, Lord Hanuman, right? Hanuman became angry and attacked Lanka. So that kind of anger is justified. Lord Ram, Sita was kidnapped by Ravan. He became angry, he attacked Lanka. That kind of anger is justified. But here, unnecessary anger is not justified. So you will find so many cases in newspapers like some boy proposed to a girl. The girl said no. The boy became angry. He poured acid on her face. So such kind of anger we are talking about. So you have to understand the context of the verse. It's not talking about all kinds of anger. Some types of anger are justified. The kind of anger which is displayed by Hanumanji, the kind of anger which is displayed by Ramji, that is justified. But
so basically, what you are saying is anger where when it is from us, when it has started from us for the activities that we are contemplating on, that is not okay. But the anger which is in our own defense, that is okay.
yeah, anger to save ourselves is fine. Anger to save someone else is also fine. Anger for protecting devotees is very much transcendental. It's glorified also. Hanumanji is glorified for his anger. Lord Ram is glorified for his anger. So that's fine. So again, when you are reading this slok, you have to understand the context. In what context it's being said. So it's not saying that anger itself is bad. It's just saying, like, it's showing you a process. This is how, like, people think about objects and they develop attachment. From attachment, lust develops. From lust, anger develops. That's the only thing. So then from anger, complete delusion arises. And from delusion, bewilderment of memory. When memory is bewildered, intelligence is lost. And when intelligence is lost, one again falls down into the material. So let me take the same example of the girl and boy, right? So what happens is that the girl says no, the boy becomes angry. In anger, he becomes completely delusioned. So when a person becomes delusioned, he loses what is, like, he doesn't even understand what is correct, what is not correct. And when memory is bewildered, intelligence is lost. And when intelligence is lost, he will do something which is not good for anyone, right? And he falls down again in the material. So I have taken just a very gross example. This same context can be applied in more subtle level in other activities also.
How memory is related to intelligence?
So when complete delusion arises, okay, so when you become angry, right? So you forget everything. So when you forget everything, what happens? Your memory is bewildered. So then you will not realize anything, right? So you will find so many lawyers. Lawyers, of course, they know the law very well. But even lawyers are committing crimes when they become angry, because they forget everything. When you become angry, you forget what is right, what is wrong, you forget all the laws. So it's like the bewilderment of memory. And when memory is bewildered, intelligence is lost. So what is intelligence in this context? Intelligence means the ability to take a right or wrong decision. And when intelligence is lost, one again falls down into material. Okay? But a person free from all attachment and aversion and able to control his senses through regulative principle of freedom can obtain the complete mercy of God. Okay, I just remember one more example from Shastra. It is about King Yayati. So it's a very good example explaining this. Okay. Does anyone know about King Yayati? Okay. So King Yayati was the emperor of the entire world. He was so he does anyone know about Shukracharya? Yeah, Shukracharya is the guru of the Asuras. So he had a daughter named Devyani. Yeah. So Devyani had a friend named Sharmishta, and
Sarmishta is daughter of
Sharmishta of a king of the king. So king of the particular land where Shukracharya was staying. So Sharmishta and Devyani both were friends, but though they were friends, they were kind of rivals of each other. So what happened is that when Yayati was marrying Devyani, who is the daughter of Shukracharya. So in earlier days, it was a custom that whenever a daughter is married, along with the daughter, her friends also go, or her maid servants also go. So Devyani took Sharmishta also with her to Yayati's palace. Now Sharmishta was, as a person, she was like very duplicitous. Like she was someone who was very beautiful, but she was very duplicitous, and she was internally an enemy of Devyani. So she actually accompanied her with मतलब उस intention कि उनका घर में आग लगा दूँ, मतलब इस intention से गई थी उनके साथ. So when Yayati was taking everyone to his home, so Shukracharya had given a warning to Yayati that this girl Sharmishta, like be very careful with her. Like she is very beautiful, but उनसे दूर रहना. Be very careful with her. So when Yayati was there, so what happened is that Sharmishta, like she was very beautiful, she was very duplicitous also, she was very attractive, charming. So somehow she won the heart of Yayati and started having an affair with Yayati behind the backs of Devyani. And what happened is that Yayati had 2 sons from Devyani and he had 3 sons from Sharmishta without the knowledge of Devyani. And all these things happened despite knowing that a husband should not have any extramarital affair with someone else. So Yayati was a proper king. He had complete knowledge of the scripture. And Shukracharya, his father-in-law, had warned him also to stay away from Sharmishta. But despite knowing all these things, he couldn't control himself. So you can see that he contemplated the object, then he got attached to her, he had lust for her, he lost his intelligence and everything. And he had children with her also. And like later on, as with the case of any kind of extramarital affair, it got caught later on that Devyani, she understood that Sharmishta was having an affair with her husband. So immediately she went and complained to her father, Shukracharya. And Shukracharya immediately cursed Yayati that it's because you are young, that's why your senses are uncontrolled. So better is that you become old. So he cursed Yayati to become old man. So after Yayati became old, he went and fell at the feet of Shukracharya and he was begging him that please do something that of course I have done this mistake but I will not repeat it, please do something to rectify it. Then Shukracharya said that if you exchange your old age with the youth of any of your sons, then you will be able to become a youth again. So he exchanged his youth with his youngest son, Puru, and he became a young man again. So after becoming a young man, he again enjoyed sense gratification for 350 years. But after enjoying for 350 years, he understood that all this pleasure, whatever I'm experiencing, it's like flickering. It feels like pleasure, but actually it's like cheating. So then he returned back his youth to Puru and he went to the forest to meditate and to perfect his life. So this is an example of King Yayati. Again, I've just told it very short. It's a very interesting pastime in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Maybe we can discuss that later in much more detail. So that is a very good example in this case. Like after contemplating the object of senses, somebody who's developing lust and losing his intelligence and doing something which he knows is not correct, but still he is doing that. So that is a very good example.
But Prabhuji, what is happening in Kali Yuga, whatever things are happening in other Yuga also.
Yeah, it was happening, but there is a difference of degree. So say for example, you must have heard of Ajamila, right? So Ajamila was an exception in his times. So that's why his incident is written in the scripture. Yayati was an exception during his time. That is why it is written in the scripture. But today if you see the Mughal emperors, this and that, like they had so many affairs. Like in their harem they had 800, 900, 1000 women. So such things are not even written. So in Kali Yuga these things have become very much common. Earlier very few people would break the regulative principle, and if they would be breaking that, it would become like newspaper headlines. It would be written in scripture also that this person this did. And it's written why? Because we learn from them and we do not commit the same mistake. It's like that.
Can you look at Brihaspati?
Yeah, Brihaspati, that's the same thing. That's the thing I'm saying. It's like a exception. It's like an exception. But nowadays these things are increasing. The extent is increasing, and after some time, like these things will be very common. Even in newspapers it will not come. So only 5,000 years of Kali Yuga have passed. Still 4,27,000 years are left. And like even if I see my own lifetime, like I was born in 1993, like during my time the children, they were very innocent, I would say. And now if I see the children, they have like advanced to a different level altogether. And if I ask my father, he was born in 1963. During his time it was different. But like as Kali Yuga is progressing, things will become more and more worse. So that's the reason why we have to understand that this is the direction in which the world is going, and we have to save ourselves as quickly as possible. We have to avoid taking another birth, because again another birth will take what kind of situation will happen, we don't know. So right now we have the Bhagavad Gita, we have the temple, we have the association of devotees. We should take advantage of all this. We should chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, which is Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has assured that just by chanting this Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, we will get all the perfection, whatever is given in the scripture. So just by chanting, just by reading Bhagavad Gita, we will be able to go back home, back to God, and make this birth our last birth.
Nothing needs to do anything on this.
Simple, this is the basic principle. We have to follow this, and then there are other rules also, but this is the main thing. If we follow this, all other things will follow automatically. Yeah. So for one thus satisfied in Krishna consciousness, the threefold miseries of material existence exist no longer. In such satisfied consciousness, one's intelligence is soon well established. So that is the reason why we are supposed to follow Krishna consciousness, because otherwise what will happen? The world is going in one direction. And if we don't follow anything, we also go in that direction only. But this Krishna consciousness is something which will pull up us, and it will give us the strength to swim against the current. So one who is not connected with the Supreme in Krishna consciousness and can have neither transcendental intelligence nor a steady mind, without which there is no possibility of peace. And how can there be any happiness without peace? So we can see the example of King Yayati. Yayati had everything in the world, but he didn't have peace because he was not Krishna conscious. After he took Krishna consciousness, he became happy. As a strong wind sweeps away a boat on the water, even one of the roaming senses on which the mind focuses carry away a man's intelligence. So we have 4 regulative principles in ISKCON. Does anyone want to reiterate or would want to share? What are those? No intoxication. No meat eating. No gambling. No illicit sex. So these are the 4 regulative principles. No meat eating, no illicit sex, no gambling, no intoxication. The reason why these 4 regulative principles are given is because these regulative principles will help us focus our mind on Krishna consciousness. Without following them, we will never be able to do anything. So in the later verses, it's written in more detail. Therefore, O mighty armed, one whose senses are restrained from their objects, certainly of steady intelligence. What is night for all beings is the time of awakening for the self-controlled. And the time of awakening for the beings is night for the introspective sage. So this is important. Again, we cannot take this literally. So can anyone guess what is the meaning of this? What is night for all beings is the time of awakening for the self-control, and the time of awakening for all beings is night for the introspective stage. What does it mean?
It's about the sleeping time.
No, it is not sleeping. In today's life, we can say about sleeping also, but it's not about sleeping.
So the people who are not awakened, they are
Still,
Like
So-
in the night, it
they're
is
still
the time for the
not
tamaguni.
Okay, simple thing. I'll talk about. One is we have devotees, other is we have completely non-devotees or materialistic people. So devotees, they wake up at 3:30 a.m. Why? To attend Mangal Aarti. Now if you go somewhere to some pub or any bar and you tell them that I wake up at 3:30 a.m. to come here for Mangal Aarti, they will start laughing at you. They will say, what kind of person you are. So what is day for a devotee is night for a demonic person.
Yeah, they go for
Yeah.
partying.
Yeah.
They go to see
Yeah.
The time when you
Yeah.
see people going back.
Yes.
Yeah.
And what is
So that's what I'm saying.
and what is the day for a demonic person? Like Saturday night is like the day.
Yes.
So at 12 a.m. Saturday night, their day will start.
Yes.
But that is the night for devotees. So devotees will sleep at 10 a.m. So I'm just giving a simple example.
There is a day for tamaguni people.
Sorry?
There is a time for tamaguni people.
Yeah.
They're
So,
humble.
so this is just one example. Along with that, there are others also. So right now we are discussing about the Bhagavad Gita. So you go to those demonic people, talk about Bhagavad Gita, they will say that, "Hey, what is this, man? This is mythology. So this is only some fairy tale somebody has written and you are studying." And what are they studying? They will study some nonsense thing. Like they'll study about weed, marijuana, this and that. And for them that is life. That is their studies. And for us it's like night. We are not interested. So it's like completely 180-degree apart. So that is what this shloka is talking about. What is night for all beings is like time of awakening for self-control. And the time of awakening for all beings is the night for introspective stage. So it's like 180-degree apart from each other. A person who is not disturbed by incessant flow of desires that enter like rivers into the ocean, which is ever being filled, but is always still, can alone achieve peace, and not the man who strives to satisfy such desires. So the example is given of an ocean, Sagar. So you see in the ocean so many rivers are going and they are emptying their water. But the ocean is always still. They are always same. They will never get disturbed by the flow of water. Similarly, our mind is also like that. Our mind, there are n number of thoughts which are coming into our mind. So the mind of a devotee is always sthir. It's like equipoised. It will never get disturbed by any kind of desires, and they will not try to unnecessarily satisfy such desires. A person who has given up all desires for sense gratification, who lives free from desires, and who has given up all sense of proprietorship and is devoid of false ego, he alone can attain real peace. So sometimes we feel that अगर मैं ये कर लूँगा तो मैं शांत हो जाऊंगा, राइट? बट यू विल फाइंड दैट इट्स अ विशियस साइकिल. मतलब किसी का सैलरी अगर 3 लाख रुपए है, वो बोलेगा कि चलो 6 लाख हो जाएगा तो मैं खुश हो जाऊंगा. 6 लाख हो जाता है तो वो बोलते हैं नहीं मेरे दोस्त का 12 लाख है, तो 12 लाख हो गया तो मैं खुश होऊंगा. 12 लाख हो जाता है नहीं ये तो 25 लाख कमा रहा है, तो अभी वो 25 लाख करता हूँ. 25 लाख करना तो ये 50 लाख कमा रहा है. तो अगर सीईओ होने के बाद भी वो बोलेगा कि ना रे मैं सीईओ, मैं इतना करोड़ कमा रहा हूँ, तो ये दूसरा कंपनी का सीईओ 100 करोड़ कमा रहा है. तो इट नेवर गेट सेटिस्फाइड. वी हैव टू पुट अ स्टॉप समवेयर इफ यू वांट रियल पीस. And this is the last shlok, very important shlok of the second chapter. That is the way of spiritual and godly life, after attaining which a man is not bewildered. If one is thus situated even at the hour of death, one can enter into the kingdom of God. So what is the ultimate teaching of the Bhagavad Gita? It is that at the time of death, we have to remember the lotus feet of Krishna. Why? Because डेथ इज लाइक एन एग्जामिनेशन. डेथ जो है वो परीक्षा है, अल्टीमेट परीक्षा हमारे लिए. तो जब भी हम कोई एग्जाम दे रहे हैं, ठीक है, तो से फॉर एग्जांपल किसी को एमबीए देना है तो कैट के लिए प्रिपरेशन कर रहे हैं, तो कैट के दिन क्या होगा कि जितना भी उसने पढ़ा है उसका रिजल्ट वहां पे आएगा. मतलब अगर उसने सही से पढ़ाई किया रहेगा तो वहां पे उसका दिमाग काम करेगा, वो लिख पाएगा. अगर कोई एमबीबीएस के लिए दे रहा है, सीईटी दे रहा है, तो अगर सीईटी के लिए अच्छे से पढ़ाई किया रहेगा तो तभी उस दिन दिमाग काम में आएगा. सो डेथ इज ऑल्सो लाइक दैट. सो इफ वी प्रिपेयर आवरसेल्फ फॉर डेथ, लाइक इफ वी आर completely cognizant of the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita, if you are chanting properly, if you are following the 4 regulative principles, then automatically at the time of death we will remember Krishna. Now there is an argument given that lot of people say that at the time of death ही कृष्णा के बारे में सोचना है ना, then what is the difficulty? जब मरने का टाइम आएगा तब मैं हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र का जप करूंगा, अब पूरे जिंदगी भर जो करना है करूंगा, मैं जो जितना मतलब मजे करने में करूंगा. At the time of that I will remember Krishna and I will go back home, back to Godhead. So what is the fault in that argument?
What you do on the time will be remembered that time also.
We experience lot of pain at the time.
Yes. So in this scripture it is said कि at the time of death हमारे बॉडी में इतना पेन होता है कि ऐसा लगता है ना कि 40 बिच्छूस 40 स्कॉर्पियंस हमें एक साथ डंग रहे, ऐसा पेन होता है हमारी बॉडी में. तो जब पेन होता है तो हमें क्या याद आता है? जो चीज सबसे ज्यादा प्रिय है वही याद आता है. तो अगर किसी को उसके पत्नी से बहुत ज्यादा लगाव है तो उसको पत्नी के बारे में याद आएगा. किसी को उसके बेटे के सबसे लगाव है तो बेटे के बारे में याद आएगा. तो इसलिए क्या होता है कि नेक्स्ट लाइफ है ना, वो उसी फैमिली में बॉर्न होते हैं, वो बेटे का बेटा होके बॉर्न होते हैं. या फिर उनका कर्म अगर खराब रहेगा तो वो बेटे के आसपास कोई लिजर्ड होके बॉर्न होंगे, या फिर मस्क्यूटो के बॉर्न होंगे. या फिर अगर उन्होंने पत्नी के बारे में सोचा तो नेक्स्ट लाइफ में वो स्त्री बन जाएंगे, ऐसा होता है. सो whoever they remember at the time of death, that they will become without any fail.
बहुत पेन होता है, कोई सोते चुपचाप निकल जाता है.
हाँ, तो सोते समय भी ऐसा हमें लगता है कि सो रहे हैं, बट एक्चुअली द पर्सन इज ड्रीमिंग. वो स्वप्न देखता रहता है, और स्वप्नों में भी वही चीजें आती जो हम करते हैं या फिर जिस चीज के बारे में हम सोचते हैं. तो उस टाइम पे जो उसके स्वप्नों में आया रहेगा वो बन जाएगा. अगर वो टाइम पे किसी को स्वप्न में आ गया कि भाई मेरा मकान कौन देख रहा है, क्या हो रहा है, तो वो नेक्स्ट जन्म में वो मकान के आजू बाजू कुत्ता बन जाएगा, तो वो कुत्ता बन के घूमेगा. एंड देयर आर केसेस. सो देयर आर सम एस्ट्रोलॉजर्स, वेरी जेन्युइन एस्ट्रोलॉजर्स हु कैन से दैट नेक्स्ट लाइफ में वो क्या बना है. सो देयर हैव बीन केसेस वेयर very rich people who are very much attached to their wealth, they have become like dogs guarding their estate, or they have become snakes also guarding their wealth. So that also happens.
There is a story of one sage also, na, who became deer.
Yeah, so it is Bharat Maharaj. Yeah, so what happened is that Bharat Maharaj, he got attached to a deer, and at the time of death he thought about the deer, and next life he became a deer. But in his case, because he was very fortunate, even after becoming a deer, he could remember his past life. And he later on, after in the next life, he became liberated. But better is that we don't fall in any kind of unnecessary attachment and hold the lotus feet of Krishna very tightly. So if we hold the lotus feet of Krishna very tightly, then even if we don't remember Krishna, Krishna will remember us. So there is a very good example given in the Shastra. There is one devotee जिसके सामने कृष्णा खुद आए उनके मृत्यु के टाइम पे. Can anyone say? In Mahabharata it's there. भीष्म पितामह. So भीष्म पितामह बेड ऑफ एरोज में थे. उनको आप सोच सकते हो कितना पेन वो एक्सपीरियंस कर रहे थे. तो वो टाइम पे कृष्णा हिमसेल्फ केम इन फ्रंट ऑफ हिम एट द टाइम ऑफ डेथ. और भीष्म पितामह ने उन पे मतलब मेडिटेट करके उनका शरीर त्याग दिया. एंड दैट्स हाउ वी बिकेम लिबरेटेड. सो दैट इज द ब्यूटी ऑफ कृष्णा कॉन्शियसनेस. सो दिस सेकंड चैप्टर हियर वी कंक्लूडेड. सो भगवद गीता का लाइक वी आर कंटिन्यूइंग विद द थर्ड चैप्टर इन Saturday, like every Sunday. So every Sunday we are have the Bhagavad Gita session. You can attend that. So वहाँ पे और ज़्यादा डिटेल में हम कवर करते हैं. So we cover like 3 or 4 shlokas only and in much more depth. So you can attend those lectures also. So जो आज first time आए हैं, आज में से कितने लोग first time आए? So this is our program. It's the Light of Bhagavad. So this happens every Saturday, Sunday at 5 p.m. from 5 to 6. And this hall is Vamshi Hall. So every Saturday this will happen in this hall. And tomorrow also the same program is there. So tomorrow Bhagavad Gita will be discussed. So this will happen in Chakra Hall, which is just near to this. And like we are the admins, so my name is Barun and these are the other admins. You can get in touch with us if you have any more questions. And typically we end the lecture at around 6:15 or 6:30. So after from 6:15 to 6:45 we have dinner prasad. So right now we will have dinner prasadam. And while having prasad, you can, if you have any queries, you can ask me or any of the volunteers. And then in the temple from 7 p.m. like we have Gaur Aarti or the Sandhya Aarti. So which you can attend. Like if you have time, you can attend the Gaur Aarti. And after that, if you want to do some service, we have a lot of services over here. Like you can chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, you can do Japa Seva. That along with chanting yourself, you can teach others how to do chanting. There is a very wonderful library which has all the scriptures. Mahabharata, Ramayana, Srimad Bhagavatam and all the scriptures are there in the library. You can go and read there. And if you have any doubts, you can ask any of the devotee over here. That is also okay. And then along with hearing, performing seva is also important. So hearing is, you can say it's like theory. So we read the Bhagavad Gita, we heard it from someone. So it's like theory. But after doing theory, you have to do some practical. So that is what is known as seva. So seva is like what you learn, you teach it to others. Or you do some activities like which are as per Bhagavad Gita. So today we talked about prasadam. So if anyone wants to cook, like they can go home, they can cook and offer the food to Krishna before eating. So it becomes prasadam. And then there are a lot of different services, like if someone is very good at making PowerPoint or video editing, they can help us. So we have a lot of seva for devotees. And we also have like almost everyday programs. So these programs happen online. So Monday we have a discourse on Sri Ishopanishad, which is the foremost of all the Upanishads. There are 108 Upanishads, out of which Ishopanishad is the most important. Then on Tuesday we have a class on Srimad Bhagavatam. So there are 18 Puranas, out of which the most important Purana is Srimad Bhagavatam. Then on Wednesday we have an offline class. It's on Chaitanya Charitamrita. So this Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, this has been inaugurated by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is an incarnation of Krishna himself. in this age of Kali. And his entire life is written in a book called Chaitanya Charitamrita. Like it's a biography of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So we have an offline class every Wednesday. If somebody has time, we can come. Like it happens from 8 to 9 p.m. Thursday we have a supplementary class on the Bhagavad Gita. It happens online. And Friday we have a class on Nectar or Devotion. Nectar or Devotion is again, it's a scripture name, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu.
What is book reading?
Sorry?
Book reading, what is that session?
Yeah. So daily morning we have a book reading session. So morning 7:15 to 8:15 a.m. Like we read books like Krishna book, and where we read the book and we discuss. So if we just read the book ourselves, then there is not much of a learning. But if we read the book in the presence of devotees, and if we chant in the presence of devotees, so this happens also online. So all these different lectures, like we have a WhatsApp group. So all those who have come for the first time, I would say you can, if you want to get added to this WhatsApp group where all this information is shared, you can share your numbers with us. We will add you to the WhatsApp group. So in that WhatsApp group, you will get the information about all these lectures and at what time it is happening. And at the same time, there are a lot of festivals which happen in a temple, like Janmashtami, Ram Navami. So whenever these festivals are happening, what is the time of Abhishek and all, everything will be given in that group. Okay, so that's about it. If anyone has any questions, we have some time, maybe 2-3 minutes, so we can take one question. Okay, where is Prasadam? Okay.
Hare Krishna. We are very fortunate and grateful to Barun Prabhu for imparting such key lessons from the Bhagavad Gita. It was a wonderful session, and I would say that these kind of perfect knowledge, if we impart, and take it in our lives, it will always give us a different way to approach life with the perfect, perspective, I would say. So I would like to let us all thank Barun Prabhu by chanting the Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Thank you. And the prasadam will be served in the Vrindavan Hall, which is in the first floor. So all the first timers, we can guide you. It's in the first floor. Hare Krishna.
Sujjan